We're snorting cap rates and shooting up cash flow here at Deal Junkies. Welcome back to Deal Junkies. We are back in the studio with Tristan Mistkawi. We just watched a video of President Obama when he was the president talking about Tristan's dad and how he was this guy. Intel hired 8 different companies to try to solve some problem. They spent a year trying to solve the problem. They couldn't solve the problem, so they handed it to your dad, Deal Mistkawi, and he solved the problem in 3 days. So first off, we've got somebody in the studio who has really great DNA, I think. So everybody listening who wants to do what Tristan's doing, know that you can do it, but it does help if you are incredibly intelligent, which Tristan is. So we're excited to have Tristan in the studio today. I'm Gabe Johansson here with Mike Nuss, Trevor Howard, and we're going to talk about deals. You ready to kick us off, Trevor?
Yeah, I wanted you to talk about, Tristan, your deal where you bought this house and got this truck and did this whole crazy thing. Because when you told me about this, I was like, what?
This isn't the house he talked about that was about ready to fall over. Is it with the bad foundation?
No, different house.
Okay.
Tell us this deal you bought.
Yeah, so it's funny because when I was first learning about wholesaling, like I was watching these Jerry Norton videos about how he would sometimes get stuff included with the sale. He's like, oh, one time I even got a motorcycle. And so I come across this deal as a fire damaged house, and he finally just wanted to sell it. And so, just in our negotiations, he was telling me that his neighbor tried to buy it off him it was in rural Montana, just really rural town. And so property value was like not very much at all. And
it's like under 50 grand type of thing, right?
Yeah, way under. And so I stopped doing deals in these towns because it just was like, it was the same amount of work for not as big of a assignment fee or flip or whatever. But he was like, yeah, my neighbor wanted to buy it for $7,500, but then he backed out and he ghosted me. I haven't heard anything from him since. And I was like, oh, do you mind explaining why he wanted to offer $7,500? And I mean, because it must be in pretty bad shape for somebody to back out, $7,500. And so he's just telling me about it. He's like, oh yeah, the foundation's bad too, and blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, I hadn't even seen it yet. And I was just like, okay, this is just a tear down. So I was like, I got to buy it for like way less than lot value. And so I was like, can you tell me like, what's the least amount you'd be willing to take for us to, move forward with this? Just, it kind of freaks me out with this guy backing out at 7,500. And he was just like, well, I mean, can you do 7,500? And so I was just like, no, I mean, I didn't say that, but I was just like, basically I got him down to 2,500 is what we landed on.
For a house.
Yeah, for a house. And then he mentions his truck, like how he's old, and he's like, yeah, I have 2 cars. I drive my SUV, my truck. I can't get inside of it anymore because my hip is bad. And he's like, do you want to buy that too? And I was like, I mean, I'll take it off your hands if you want to just include, because I just figured it was like a super old truck, like bad truck. I was like, yeah, if you just want to include it in the sale, I'll take it off your hands and so you don't have to worry about it. And he just agreed to it. He's like, okay.
So $2,500 for a house and a truck.
And a truck.
What was the Kelley Blue Book on the truck?
So the Kelley Blue Book is only like $5,000. So it's not. Yeah, it's
more than what you paid
for the house and the truck. Yeah,
but I mean,
only more than what I just agreed to.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. But like when you go, I just think like when you go, it's not. It doesn't compare to like a $25,000 assignment fee or like that kind of.
What'd you
values
do
relative?
Do you still have this truck?
Yes.
I still have the truck.
This is your truck.
I still have the truck. This is the car I drive now. Yeah, I'm gonna drive it as long as I can, just because I think it's so cool. I just got a truck included with.
What'd you do at the house?
So I finally went and saw the house, and I was like, okay, the foundation's actually in decent. Like foundation's not bad. Like it had like one area that was like a little questionable just from like water intrusion, but it was like everything was super stable. All the floors were level, and it just needed, all I did was I went in and I paid somebody $1,000 to trash it out. And then I had my agent's license at the time. I don't anymore, but I did back then. But then, so I just listed it myself for sale. and I just tried listing it for 20 grand, and the best cash offer I got was 10 grand. But then I went back and negotiated with these people. I was like, hey, what if we did seller financing? Like, how much would you be willing to pay if we sell it? How close can you get? And so somebody agreed to $17,000, $5,000 down, and then just $1,000 principal only payments. And so it's still it'll get fully paid off in
5 months or something.
Yeah,
like that,
something like that. But
so you turned $2,500 into 17 grand and a truck.
No, you turned it into 5 grand, 12.5 on a note in a truck.
Yeah, which is awesome.
It's amazing.
pretty cool.
So like, what are these houses actually worth being like? Because the cost to build that thing still is going to be like 150 grand, right?
Yeah, it's kind of confusing. Like, it's just the area it was in was not great, and yeah, the house is just
like just no one wants to live there, so it's not worth anything essentially.
basically.
So are they just going to fix it up and rent it?
Yeah, that's the plan.
It's a renter's
for them.
market.
Yep.
Will people rent that house? And
Yeah, people rent it.
This is why
Yeah.
you don't buy and rent or markets. You just don't get any value out of it other than rent.
how much will they rent that house out for? Like $400 a month type of thing, $300 a month, or
Honestly, I didn't even check on like what the rent is.
It's
even
probably more like 800
like
or 900 because the only way to even get capital there is if you can get them a 15 cap.
Yeah, even in the Midwest, when you're buying houses at 10 to 30 grand, they usually rent for like 7 to 900, I think.
Mm-hmm.
which is wild. Like
It's a great
math.
good math.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
Why?
Because they don't get any of the other things that you factor into it.
Sure. Yeah.
No
but,
appreciation,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
but
it's-
and you got to manage it, and it's far away.
But it's a return with a lot of risk. You have physical, right? You have a lot of risk to that return.
just because no one wants that on the exit potentially.
Exactly.
My mentor, Brian, who brought me in, he recently sold me our office building, and he did a 1031 and took all that money and just went and bought houses like that in the Midwest. And they had to figure out, it was a process to figure out how to manage that and what areas you could buy in and still be managed and stuff.
Are they glad they did it?
I don't know. I haven't asked him, but it was just a cash flow play.
Yeah.
You're not going to make as much on, Class A office or multifamily in Oregon that you are on, shitty residential houses in Ohio or wherever else you're going.
And they're not even shitty residential houses. They're just a market based by renters, not a market based by owners.
Well, I think in those markets, though, a nice house sells for $150 or $100.
Yeah, but it's still the same house as a $600,000 house here.
Sure. But when you're buying one for 10 grand or 30 grand,
I know,
it might be kind of shitty, right?
but not when
It's
it's worth
shittier than
100 at the other end.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, that's just okay. So we buy something for 3 and make it worth 6. They buy it for 30 and make it worth 150.
The cool thing is you can just write a check for them. I mean,
Did you write a check
Yeah.
for this? You had $2,500.
Yeah, I just paid $2,500.
But you have to take that cash flow and invest it in something that actually builds wealth. You can't just spend that cash flow because 30 years from now you won't have it.
unless you're already in retirement, which they are. So they're
Yes.
just living on the cash flow.
Correct.
All right. So then the next deal, your sixplex deal, I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Because this one was kind of interesting too, because you bought this 0 down.
Yeah.
Right? So tell
Yeah.
us about this deal.
This was the first seller finance deal that I bought. So it was a tired landlord list. This was actually before the truck house, but I had a virtual assistant calling for me. They would like screen the leads and then give me the ones who were like, qualified leads.
And then, not to cut you off, but so at first, before you ever had a deal, you were the cold caller.
Yes.
Then you had deals, and then you expanded on that, and now you replaced your time as the caller. You're then doing dispo, you're networking, you're doing the other side after contract, or you're even getting in contract.
I would still get I would do acquisition and dispo, but
You had an
not the
appointment setter?
initial- Yeah, appointment setter.
And that probably saved you a lot of time.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you find that they did less deals than you because their cold calling was worse, or did it not matter that much because they're calling so much more?
Yeah, the latter. Like, because
was
they're
just a
calling so
numbers
much
game.
more. Yeah, exactly. And so they got me. Yeah, honestly, it was pretty good. Like, it was pretty good. I used Start Virtual. They were good. Like, it was like $9 an hour. You could hire your own VA from Online Jobs PH for like $3 an hour and train them yourself if you wanted to.
Mhm.
But yeah. But anyway, yeah. So I knew the seller was super motivated. Like, they had this other, because we actually called on this other property that was like it was like a code violation property, and they had just told us they just went under contract with somebody else. And so, but then I could see they had all these other properties, and like they didn't mention anything about all their other properties. So then I just went and just knocked on their door, and and then I just asked, I was just like, hey, I'm the one who spoke with you on the phone the other day. I see you have all these other properties, and I just want to introduce myself and see if there's any, potential in us working out a deal together on these other properties.
Did they think it was weird you showed up at their house, or
no? They welcomed me in, and I sat down at their kitchen table.
You found them from a
cold caller?
Yeah, but you had a certain list. Was it the
code violations?
Code violation list?
Yeah, it was like code violation or tired landlord, but
that was part of your the property search website you were using. What was it called?
PropStream. Actually, no, I don't think they have code violations on there. So it
How
must
do you
have
find code? Call the city.
City records.
You can call
it's
city.
Public record, a list of code violations for at least when where we're at, like for single families, it shows you the whole list. For multifamilies,
Public
it shows you the whole
record,
list.
isn't it?
Literally just Google code violations in my city, and you'll find a link. And that every month they'd be like, "Here's the properties. Here's the codes they violated. Here's the owners." There you go.
All right, so some kind of low-hanging fruit. You're going, hey, these guys may not have the money to fix their
potentially,
property.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so
that one was the one you called on was sold
to somebody else.
But you went and knocked on their door, and they're like, "Let's work together."
Yeah, on the other ones, yeah. And so they were just like, "Yeah, we're thinking about it. We're getting older. We think we don't want to deal with it anymore." So I just kept in contact with them over the next couple weeks. And it's funny because I also found out that on the one I initially called about, I knew the other investor who got it under contract.
Justin?
No, different.
Different guy? Okay.
Not Justin this time. Yeah. But he never asked about, so I didn't mess with that one. Like I don't want to, get somebody to breach. But then I asked about the other ones because he never asked about them. And so we ended up going under contract after finding out it was a little shaky because a third investor, they were trying to buy these properties at the same time as me. And so right before we already verbally agreed on everything, and we're like, okay, great, I'm going to send the paperwork over. And then they were like, wait, we just got another DocuSign from somebody else. And I was like, and they're like, they're telling me we're thinking about accepting this one. I was like, but we already verbally agreed. I guess I'm just confused, like, what happened. And I was like, why don't you let me, do you mind if I look at the contract for you? And so I looked at it, and so what I was buying was the sixplex, and they had 4 trailers on owned land. So just like, trailers on owned land. And they offered $10,000 for all 4 trailers, and then $290,000 for the sixplex.
2 separate contracts?
2 separate contracts. One for all 4 trailers, one for the sixplex.
Not tied together, contingent upon each other?
Nope. Yeah, not tied together whatsoever. I was like, look, like, and these investors, like, a lot of people don't like them in our town. They're known to do things like this and be like super shady. So I was just like, I'm going to be completely honest with you. You make your own decision. But these guys, what I could see them doing here, they don't have anything. They don't have anything giving you an out, and they have an out on both contracts. They could easily back out of the 291 and take all 4 trailers right out from under you for $10,000. Like, this is what could happen. And they're like, so once I pointed that out to them, they're like, okay, I don't want to work with these guys. I want to work with you. We'll move forward with our agreement. And I offered them, it was like, I think it was like 32. It was 125 for all four trailers, and then initially 175 for the sixplex. So same price. So same total price, 300.
And they can also do it the opposite way, which is stack a bunch. Well, they did it that way. I've had that exact same thing happen.
Yeah.
You tell the seller, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
In my situation, they're going to buy 4. They're not going to buy number 5.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And so we ended up moving forward, but they were pissed. Like, these other investors, they were pissed that I beat them out. And so they're calling these sellers back, like they're just like gossiping, like making all this stuff up about how, I'm going to take advantage of them. And like, they even called my broker. Like, this is even running through my brokerage. they call my broker, and like, just, we're creating chaos. I was just like, whatever. But the sellers, they started to like not like me after that, because then after doing I had an inspection contingency on the sixplex, and then after finding out the foundation was just completely, it was terrible. It was like, clay block. So like they would
Terracotta tiles.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they would sometimes build the foundations out of those back in the day. Yeah, and it was terrible, especially there, because it would just cave in. So I was like, look, I have to reduce, like, for me to move forward, I have to reduce the price by $100,000. Like I have to bring this down to $75,000 after having the engineer and contractors, everybody look at it.
And you were already under contract at zero money down on this seller carry?
I was actually, what's better is I was under contract cash for all of them. And I was like, look, for me to move forward, I have to, and I knew they were going to go for seller finance because they told me, like, I knew they wanted cash, but I knew they would go for seller finance on at least like one of them, because the other house with the other investor, he told me that they went under contract seller finance. And so I was like, and it was only like $500 down. I was like, okay, I know they're going to do they would do a low down payment.
Yeah.
So I went back to them and I told them, like, I need to do seller finance. I can give you $1,000 down, but I need to be at this price. And I sent them the DocuSign at the same time. And the husband's like, I'm not effing signing this. Like, he's like super pissed off. And I was like, look, I totally understand your frustration. I know this is probably really upsetting. Just tried to calm him down. I was just like, this is what's going to work for me. I understand if you want to back out of this one, we can still move forward with your trailers. But this is just where I have to be, unfortunately. And then, he's like, can you do 85? I was like, sure, I can do 85. So then we did 85.
8,500 down instead of 1,000 down.
$85,000.
85 grand.
Oh, gotcha.
Rather than 175.
Yep. Oh, okay.
Yep. And then $1,000 down, but I got all the rents prorated. So then with the closing costs and everything, because there was tenants in there, like living in there, and they all, rents were super low, but they all paid on time every month. And yeah, it just made the entry fee zero, basically. Yep. So
makes sense.
I know last time we were talking about this deal, you were trying to figure out how to exit it, whether you refinance it or like what you do, and you had a 1-year balloon on this.
Yeah, I had a 1-year seller finance balloon because they wanted a quick turnaround.
Yeah. And
so initially I went into it, I was like, okay, I could do another BRRRR. Like I'll BRRRR this, I'll refinance, I can pull, it should be plenty to pull all the cash back out that I put into it. But then after starting the cleaning business and everything, and just realizing, like, my first project, our house, was a big, that was a big project, but this one was a whole nother beast. And so I just decided I can't do this. This is too
much work.
This is too much work. And I already had a ton of equity in it. And so it just, after you guys like sealed the deal for me. I was just like, when you guys told me like you should just sell it, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna sell it.
So what'd you sell it for? Did you rehab it at all then, or no?
No, we just kept up with maintenance requests, and I made like $10,000 in cash flow over the net cash flow over the first year, and then I sold it for, what was it? I think I sold it for 177 or something like that.
So you made like $90,000 on it?
Yeah. I made like 80. I think I made $80,000 is
plus
what I
the
made.
Cash flow.
Plus, yeah.
Okay. And then did you sell it within that 1-year balloon, or did you have to extend or anything?
I sold it with that 1-year balloon. Yeah.
Okay.
At the very end of it.
And we figured this thing was worth, I can't remember, we did like the math on it, but we thought you could go exit at like 400 or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was like probably like 500
if you did all the work and fixed it up, got rents to market. So that dude still had room to run on it. And then seller was happy, they got their deal, and
they got it and we were done. Yeah. And then the trailers, that was like the monster. So, before selling the sixplex, when I acquired everything, I signed all the trailers for $50,000. And so that was all just from one seller. So, like,
you assigned them, you wholesaled it.
I wholesaled them. Yeah. So like 130, I made
you did that before you ever closed on those trailers?
Yep.
So you wholesaled one piece of it, you bought the other piece, you waited a year, so you made $50,000 on the assignment.
Yep.
The trailers, you made almost $100,000 in cash flow and appreciation on the sixplex.
Yeah, I would say like 80. I think when I added it all up, it was $80,000 is what I netted on the sixplex.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you made
$130,000 from one seller.
on a $200,000 deal.
with no money down.
I like it.
That was the best.
But
deal
he
I've
did a
ever
lot of work.
Scale that.
Yeah.
Scale that. Now do 10x on that.
Yeah.
Like it even more.
Yeah. So that was a cool deal. I was really like attached to that sixplex. I really wanted to keep it because just the amount of units, 6 units. I was like, I had 13 units at the time, and I was like, man, I'm gonna let go like half my units.
You're gonna go back to single digits.
Yeah. So I was sad, but I think it was the best. It was for the best.
Did you reinvest those dollars in the cleaning business, or what did you?
No, because
Or you just lived off it?
Yeah, we just I paid off some other things and just
Some student loan.
we had a little bit of credit card debt just from like
Living.
other expenses, and yeah, so I paid that off, and then the rest of it we just kept as reserves. Yeah, for all the properties, and then cleaning business to operating funds, pay everybody's payrolls, like all that stuff. So
You've done a lot of different kinds of deals for just getting started. What's your favorite type of deal?
I think my favorite deal was
I mean, is there a certain structure that sings to you more than others? You like sub 2? You like seller
I
carry?
love sub 2. I just think sub 2 is so badass. Like
Why?
I just
Tell us why.
it's just so cool that you can take the ownership of the house but keep the loan in their name. Just crazy to me. And that was my first
loan.
that was my first, and you can wholesale them just like you do a cash deal, or just like you wholesale a seller finance. Like you can wholesale any contract. Yeah, and I just think it's so cool because that was actually my first wholesale deal, was a subject to deal, and then it's just like there's less competition with creative finance too because not as many people know how to do it.
Because you're known in your area as the dude who does creative deals, right?
Yeah,
After like 3 months and just starting out as an investor.
That's the beautiful thing. There's so few creative deals done. It doesn't take long to get that reputation.
yeah, and so with this agent, I got one. I have done 2 on-market ones. Like one I wholesaled, and then one I kept for myself. And yeah, it was the same situation. No equity. Agent can't sell it. They're like, "Hey, can you help me? Can you help me do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then we did it.
So then now you were just telling us you did this business deal too, like your commercial building deal. How'd you do this one?
Yeah, so this one's pretty cool. So the story's kind of funny actually. So right now we share a space with Keller Williams in our town. We clean for them for free each week for a couple hours, and then in exchange for just
Free
office
rent.
space, and then like cleaning supplies, just be able to operate our business out of there. And we'd always take our dogs, and then so other people started taking their dogs with them, and they said, "Hey, we're sorry, we're changing the rules. We don't want anyone bringing their dogs anymore because it was just getting too hectic, I guess." And so once that happened, me and my wife were really bummed, and we're like, let's go find our own building now so that we can bring our dogs. so I started I was just like, okay, like let me see what I can find. And so I just went on market and I just looked at commercial properties, and I saw this one. It was an old, and I just went and looked at it, and then it was this older lady, 80 years old. She wanted to retire. She was like just really done. Like she wanted to stop working because she was still working in the gift shop, and she's like, I want to stop tomorrow. I want to be done. And so, I just asked them if they'd be open to seller financing. And at first, the agent was like, "Oh, she won't take anything less than 30 grand down." I was like, "I don't think I can do more than 10." And so I was like, "Let me know if you change your mind." And then the next day, they called me saying they wanted to do seller finance $10,000 down. And then I was able to negotiate 5% interest rate, 30-year AM, 15-year balloon.
Tell us about the deal. What's the building?
Yeah, so the building is just, it looks kind of like a residential building, but it's just zone commercial, and there's a gift shop inside of it. It's called Montana Gifts. You can buy a bunch of Huckleberry stuff if you ever come to Great Falls. But
So you got the business and the building.
the business and the building.
What'd you buy it for?
Because I bought, the purchase price is $205,000, $10,000 down.
For
So
both business
for
and
both
building.
business and building.
And it has extra space for your cleaning business in there too?
Yeah, so the gift shop, it had like this whole backspace that just like wasn't even used, and it's a perfect amount of space for our office and cleaning supplies, and then a separate entrance parking lot for cleaners to come in and restock and go back off. And so it's like, yeah, perfect fit. And then before that, my intent was, before keeping the business, my intent was, okay, I'm just going to sell everything in the store as fast as I can and just recover the down payment. So it's zero down payment, or see if I can get,
Since you got all the inventory.
Yeah, because all the inventory came with it. And so, but then after learning more, I learned that the manager there she's been with that store for 30 years with 3 different owners. And I was going to be the 4th different owner. And after looking at the books, unless she's like cooking the books or something, it nets like 20 grand a year in profit. And that's enough to the building payments with insurance, taxes, all that stuff, $1,500 a month. And so 20 grand a year
pays for itself.
And then there's a manager in there already operating it.
Usually people don't cook the books to make it more profitable if they're the employee.
Yeah.
They cook it the opposite way.
Yeah.
Or when you're getting ready. Yeah.
So you pay her a salary then?
Yeah. I would just pay her hourly.
Okay.
Just pay her hourly. Yeah. And so I was like, why don't we could just see if this works. Like just keep it open, see how it goes. And because we don't need to use this part of the building. We can use the other part. And so I was like, all right, I guess I'm buying a business by accident then.
So you just transferred LLC to you? And
Yep. There was a DBA. I made a new LLC and then just transferred the DBA to, Yep.
Who runs that business?
The manager.
The manager.
So you don't have any involvement day to day other than just keeping an eye on that manager.
Basically, yeah. I'm gonna try. They do things really inefficiently, so I'm gonna try and make things a little more efficient. And they don't advertise at all. Like they didn't advertise whatsoever at all. So even if I just advertise a little bit and then clean some things up, like everything's paper, like pen, like everything's just super inefficient. So
Give them a point of sale system.
Yeah.
But then are you at risk of losing them if you implement a point of sale system?
No,
they won't adapt.
I don't think so, because we've talked about a lot of things. Like the manager's older, but she's definitely like open to
savvy.
Because I just explained to her, like, look, this is gonna save you so much time. Like, I'll teach you how to do these things. She's like, okay, awesome. Like,
could you sell the business to her?
No, I don't think so. I don't think she could.
But even why sell it to her if she's gonna run it?
Yeah, but yeah. So I'm gonna try. I'm trying not to get too distracted because I want to be super focused on building the cleaning business up. But as long as I don't have very much involvement and it pays for the building, then I think I'm pretty happy.
So you've gone down kind of the rabbit hole of what you might call shiny object syndrome.
Yeah, a little bit.
You start off and I'm going to go to med school. No, I'm going to get in real estate. No, I'm going to wholesale. Now I'm going to own. Now I'm going to start a cleaning business. Now I need an office. So now I have a gift shop. So have you taken the time to envision where this all goes? Like what does this turn into? What are you trying to create here?
Yeah. So I'd say, I definitely do have a little bit of shiny object syndrome, because like at first I was like all in on real estate. I didn't really I don't know. I wasn't like wanting to just be a wholesaler or just be a flipper or just, be a buy and hold investor. I just kind of would analyze the deal and see like what made the most sense and just try and be a quote unquote investor. If that made sense. I would wholesale when I needed cash, and then I'd like keep deals. When I could keep deals, I'd keep the best ones, especially the creative ones. And but then the cleaning business, I'm still all in on the cleaning business. Like, I guess, I don't know, maybe it's a better choice. It would have been a better choice to just go find another place to rent instead of like spending this time buying this building and like learning how to put the gift shop together and everything. But I don't know.
Well, in the very beginning, you talked about mailbox money.
Yeah.
So of all the things you do, which one's going to get you closest to that goal of getting mailbox money?
Cleaning business.
All right. So maybe you should just go all in on cleaning business.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do.
Pick up some buildings as you go.
Yeah, pick up a little bit as I go. But because like this was like for the cleaning business, like that way we know we always have a building, like we can always be there. But then just the gift shop came with it.
I think we talked about before, now money versus tomorrow money. We always bring this up. You're trying to solve a today problem that you want to take control of your time now. And to do that, you really have to have business. Business is what's going to get you the cash flow needed. It's going to take a lot of your time and effort, but as you scale it and you pass off the duties to other people to operate your businesses, it is going to give you more of the freedom, like you're saying, that you're looking for. But ultimately, you're taste is going to change, and you're going to want different things as time goes on. Your wife's going to want more trips to Cancun and a nicer truck, and there's going to be there's things coming down the road you're going to want that the real estate you're going to go back and go, wow, I wouldn't have been able to do that if I hadn't bought that building along the way.
Yeah.
That's your tomorrow money. That's the wealth part of what you're building. Because your cleaning business might even if it throws off $1 million a year, it's still not going to be worth much more than $1 million. You can go buy like one of your building that you just bought that you're not even sure you should have bought. You wait 20 years, that thing's going to be worth $1 million, and you're going to go, oh, well, I'm glad I bought that.
Yeah,
that was easy.
Doing what you're doing now, do you think you could ever just sit on a beach and relax and do nothing and hang out? Like,
I think. Yes, I think I could. I can.
Nobody can do that.
I think the people who can,
not even Gabe can do it. Well, Gabe could never do that.
No.
So you think you could though? You think you get the time freedom and you're
No
like,
way.
all right, I'm not going to do more deals. I'm just going to hang out, not going to do business.
Look at this guy. You really think he can do that?
I don't think I can do that. I think if I wanted to, like, my goal is like I want to have the option to.
Yes.
But like I probably won't because it's just so much fun just doing deals and building businesses and.
Are you happier now doing what you're doing than
way
in
happier?
med school?
Way happier.
So you think everyone should drop out of med school, right?
Only if they're unhappy.
I think if you truly cannot see yourself doing anything else other than that, other than being a doctor, then yes, you should. I should have like if I could have saved so much time if I would have like really thought about and like pondered that more when my professor told me that.
So you were just going through the motions and you're like, this is something I'm supposed to do. And you were going down the path. How does someone think about it beforehand? So the people who are thinking about going to college, like what questions do they need to ask themselves? What do they need to think about before making these decisions?
See, it's so hard because I'm also very stubborn. Like, and I feel like a lot of people are stubborn. So like if you are that way, even if it's like not something you are going to do in the future and you have a mindset like me, I don't think sometimes nobody can tell you the right thing. Eventually you're just going to have to make mistakes and then you'll figure it out. Like, I don't think anybody could have told me something else for me to change my mind sooner. 'Cause I didn't understand until I actually went through it. And I was like,
no frame of reference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know how crazy it was that you were doing those deals with no money and doing all that? Did you think that was crazy at the time? Or you're just like, this is what I do to invest?
I didn't think it was crazy because I knew it was going to work because I'd see other people doing it and I know it's a real thing. I feel like people from afar were like, you're crazy. Like some of my family, and they're like, this isn't going to work.
Because they'd never bought a deal before.
Yeah, they'd never bought it. So it's like, don't listen to people that aren't doing what you want to do.
So what does your family think now?
It's good advice.
My family, what do they do now?
What do they think now?
Oh, what do they think now? My dad, I think he like deep down he's still sad, but I think he's
hey, you could go buy a doctor's office later on and own the office and employ all the doctors.
Yeah. That would be funny. That'd be ironic. But no, I think he's proud of me. Like, I think he's upset, but I think he's proud of me.
Do they think it's cool? Because like you're growing businesses and doing way more revenue than you would be right now. What, in your third or fourth year of medical school and paying
first year residency
$400,000 a day? You'd be making money right now.
I'd be making like $60,000 a year in residency.
And you made $60,000 in 3 months. Your first 3 months of doing deals.
Yeah.
That's where you could use the math right against him, but it doesn't work in emotional compensation.
Yeah. But really it's like I just would have been miserable. Like I would have made good money when I was out and a doctor. But I just would have been miserable. This is way more fun. Like, I get to hang out with my wife all day, like build a business together, and like create an awesome culture for like our employees.
What's that like doing it with your wife? Because you guys are spending all day together growing this thing, and then you go hang out at home.
Yeah.
Like, do you separate the business and like life, or does it just continue and now you're doing business all the time, or what's it look like?
Sometimes it's definitely hard to turn it off sometimes. But yeah, we just try and set boundaries. Like, all right, we're leaving the office, or like we've completed these tasks. Let's just not talk about business stuff. Let's just hang out, spend intentional time together.
Is that hard to do? Because I would just imagine I would just want to talk about business.
Yeah, sometimes I just want to talk. I just want to talk about it because I get excited about it.
Yeah.
But then she'll be like, just like shut up, basically.
Do you feel like you're building the business to hand to her to be her business, or is it your joint business that you're going to continue to run together?
So I always say like it's her business and like I'm helping her.
So that's a little different
like,
when you're not just going to be in perpetuity running a business together, because you can help put the wheels in motion and help her get to where she needs to be, so you can step off and do whatever it is you're going to do.
Yeah, but now I'm just like we've talked about like, okay, once what are we going to do once we get this to like capacity in our market and we have it fully scaled, and
you can do it again.
Yeah, we kind of want to do it again.
Is she
in another market?
In another market.
Is she happier?
Yeah, she's much. Yeah,
does she geek out on this? She really likes it. She likes building the business.
She likes it.
So you guys are having fun.
We're having fun.
How long did it take from her being the cleaner to the first office person?
By July, like the beginning of July of
this year,
yeah.
This past year.
Yeah.
And then how many cleaners in the field did it require to take one of those cleaners in the field who replaced her in the field to then replace her in the office?
8. We had 8 cleaners.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, yeah, now we're a little bit smaller right now. I think we have like a team of 6, but.
And then is your Emily essentially the ops manager that you're trying to get the office person to replace her as the ops manager?
So I would say I would say like I'm the one. I've been like building out all of the SOPs and everything. Mm-hmm. I've been like
You're the contractor.
Yeah, I guess I'm the contractor.
Systems.
Yeah, she's like, they see her, all the cleaners see her as like the manager.
The CEO.
Yeah. Like she's the one they look up to, they talk to about their problems, they ask about, questions, everything. So, sorry, what did I answer?
No, you did. You did.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see how that all kind of grows.
Yeah. And I'm basically just, I've been like helping train her on like all the off, because I was just doing everything in the office while she was in the field, building it all up, doing all the ads, doing everything, and then so I'm still like training her on stuff, and then training the new office person that came in, and building out all this. I'm like the bottleneck at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just, because I didn't write anything down. I just did what needed to be done to increase the revenue, and so now I'm like, that's why we had to like scale back a little bit, because I'm like, okay, I can't do as many sales. I need to work on this stuff. I need to get you and the office person doing these things, and I need to focus on like all the things like help you guys do those things. So, but now things are like on the uphill trajectory again. Like I've done a lot of those things that need to be done, and they're really confident. The office person's doing great. Yeah.
What do your like old friends and people think about what you're doing? They're similar age to you.
I think like a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people just think it's like not real. Like you're just like making it up. Like this isn't like.
Well, it's not real. You are making it up as you go. Like that's what it is. You're figuring it out, and you're just But they like, do you share? Like, do you talk about and they comprehend? You're like, I'm doing $80,000 this month in cleaning. Like, can they comprehend that or not really? Yeah,
they can comprehend it, but. I don't know. It's kind of weird sometimes. It's like when you don't. It's like you want to believe. It's like it's almost like some people just want to believe that it's not possible to do that. Like you're making this.
Well,
stuff.
yeah, because then they might have to go do that. Like it's better when you're not succeeding to just say, "Oh, that's not real," Because you got to look in the mirror and go, "Well, why am I not doing it? If it can be done, why am I not doing it? Well, it can't really be done."
So how are you learning how to run the business? Is it all YouTube too, and systems and?
So initially, it was just like we were just like figuring it out on our own. Like Emily just figured out how to do it. I guess
that person's gonna pay me to clean their house. I'll go clean their house.
Yeah, I think she watched YouTube videos. Her mom also like was a cleaner and like would clean for people, so she learned a lot of stuff from her mom, I think, and. Me just learning what I learned from real estate about like setting up an LLC, like all the like back end side of things, and then like setting up a website, like Google page, like all that stuff. Like we just implemented that into it, and then I had a real estate investor acquaintance. I would call him a friend now, but he was like an acquaintance at the time, and I tried to sell a deal to him. But he's living in Bozeman, and I saw that he's running a cleaning business in Bozeman, and then now they're doing this mentorship because they just built their residential cleaning business in Bozeman up to $1 million in revenue a year. And so we ended up buying this mentorship from them to just essentially like do what they're doing. And that's when it took off. Yeah. So we bought this mentorship for $8,000, and it was like the best $8,000 I've ever spent.
I love that. You got to a point where it made sense to pay for the shortcut.
Yeah.
But before you got to the point of paying for the shortcut, you made sure it was the right paid shortcut you wanted to take.
Yeah. And I've even bought stuff for real estate too. Like I bought into the Pace Morby sub 2, for it was also like $8,000, and I got value out of that too. Like my first subject to deal that I bought, I connected with a private money lender in that group, and they gave me the down payment I needed to catch up the arrears and closing costs, all that stuff.
The Gator lending.
So do you have a network of people doing business and other things in Montana with you right now, or?
Not really. Like, yeah, there's no investor meetup in Great Falls. Like nobody does that like they do here, or like in bigger cities. And so I kind of just networking with like friends, I guess, and like other people that we know doing business.
And you're trying to come back to Salem, right?
I think that's the plan. Like, yeah, I think we'd like to move back this next year
and start the cleaning business here.
It's possible. Like, I think I could see ourselves doing that. The only thing would be it would be different this time because there's competition. Like there wasn't really much competition aside from just solopreneurs in Great Falls. So then we'd have to figure it out. But we figured stuff out before, so I'm sure we could do it.
That's awesome. All right, we gonna wrap this one up?
I think so.
All right.
My favorite story.
Trevor's favorite story.
I just like it because I got to witness it throughout the whole entire time and see you go along to what you did now, and then people just hear the end. But like I got to see like, should I do this? Like I'm not sure. Like I'm like, yeah, go for it.
Did you ever have to talk him off the ledge?
No, he was all in on it. I was like, yeah, you should quit your job. Like I just did this 2 years before you. Best decision I ever made.
Yeah,
it's kind of nice to have one of your buddies blazing the trail.
Yeah. Thank you, bro. You had a huge
Thanks
part.
for losing $800,000, so I didn't have to.
Yeah, you guys are welcome.
Well, Tristan, thanks for joining us again on the show. It's been really fun having you. And we learned that you can be a deal junkie and not just about real estate. You can be buying businesses, do all sorts of deals. So
You can do whatever you want.
It's really exciting to hear your story, and we'll have you back on to. Hopefully, when you live in Salem, you can come on a little more often. You can tell us some updates.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
You can just sponsor Deal Junkies with your cleaning show.
There you go.
We'll finally make some money. All right, guys. We're the Deal Junkies. Thanks for listening. Please share this episode if you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.